Hey everybody, I've got a video here for you today, and I've had a lot of questions on this lady here, Nefertiti, my thoughts on the history of her, where her tomb may be in association with King Tut's tomb, the big search in Egypt, and this and that and the other thing. But I think there's a great history of this woman that really hasn't been brought forward into the public conscious too much, and I just wanted to talk a little bit about that today. And just how some history brought to you by Egyptologists is just so incomplete. It's quite sad. But this woman, her name kind of disappears from the record about the 12th year of Akhenaten's reign, about 3,400 years ago, roughly. And there's a little bit of a mystery, but I think it's quite clear what happens after Akhenaten dies. Tut, the heir, is only a boy, maybe 4, 5, 6 years old. So I believe Nefertiti became Pharaoh of Egypt for maybe 8, 10 years. And I think we have clear evidence of this. Now let's just do a little review here. The pharaohs from the very first dynasty through the Ptolemaic period 3,000 years later were all depicted in the classic posture of the constellation of Orion. And I don't know why Egyptologists have problems mentioning this when it's so blatantly obvious. Here's Ramses, Seti, Den, coming from the first dynasty. And here is a depiction. I think this comes from the 20th dynasty, obviously a cosmological scene here. And then we had Hawass. This is Nefertiti, and here she is in the classic posture of the constellation of Orion. This is a posture reserved for pharaohs of Egypt. And this is obviously telling me that she was Pharaoh of Egypt for a short time. And here is the sun disk above her, the symbol of Aten. And this comes from Amarna. So it's very possible she could have co-ruled with Akhenaten. And then after he died, she changes her name to Neferuaten. And because Tut is just a boy, I believe she becomes Pharaoh of Egypt. And a similar depiction of her in this exact same posture was found at Luxor. And Hawass is saying, here's Nefertiti smiting her enemies. So this is proof that she became ruler of Egypt. Well, Mr. Hawass, Nefertiti was not out there smiting her enemies. This isn't what this actually depicts. She wasn't out there kicking butt in the battlefield. This is symbolic of her being in the posture of the constellation of Orion, just as other pharaohs were. I don't know why you can't say that, Zahi, or why that isn't obvious to you, or why you have a problem saying that. You and other Egyptologists should get your nose out of the sand and start looking upwards to the heavens, because that is where all the associations are made in the Egyptian text. And when you can't say that, that just bugs the hell out of me when it's so obvious. Here is Nefertiti as Orion, proof that she was Pharaoh of Egypt for a short while. Hope you thought this was interesting, and you all have a very pleasant day.